former U.S. President Donald Trump's real estate company has come under the spotlight at this moment and has been convicted of tax fraud by a Manhattan court. A jury found the Trump organization guilty for helping its executives dodge taxes. The judgment comes as a repudiation of financial practices at Trump's business as he mounts another run for the White House. A jury found two corporate entities that the Trump organization guilty on all 17 counts. The charges included those of conspiracy and falsifying business records. The company is convicted of carrying out a 15-year-long criminal scheme to defraud tax authorities. Former U.S. President Donald Trump himself, however, was not on trial. He nonetheless had called the probe a politically motivated witch hunt.
It'll certainly be appealing, of course, and a novel and really interesting issue developed during the trial. Obviously, the definition of in behalf of what that means, and we filed a lot of papers, the defense team, about what those words mean. They were enacted in 1965. The judge recognized there was not a lot of definition on that at all, and certainly that will be one of the arguments we will make. And it was central to the case. So I'm sure that will be among other issues that we take up.
The verdict in state court in New York came after about 10 hours of deliberations over 2 days. The Trump organization, which operates hotels, golf courses, and other real estate around the world, now faces up to $1.6 million in fines. The exact amount of the fines will be determined in New York State Court during final sentencing on January 13th next year. While the fine is not expected to be material for a company of its size, the conviction could complicate its ability to do business by spooking lenders or even partners.
The former president's companies now stand convicted of crimes. That is consequential. It underscores that in Manhattan we have one standard of justice for all. As the jury addresses indicated, this was a case about lying and cheating, false documents to the end of evading taxes for the benefit of individuals and the corporations. They've now been held accountable in a court of law right here in Manhattan.
The case revolves around charges that the company paid personal expenses like free rent and car leases for top executives without reporting their income. The Trump organization also paid them bonuses as if they were independent contractors. The Manhattan case was built largely around testimony from the company's former finance chief, Alan Weisselberg. Weisselberg previously pleaded guilty to charges that he manipulated the company's books to illegally reduce his taxes on $1.7 million in fringe benefits. He testified in exchange for a promised 5-month jail sentence. Susan Teherani is our correspondent from New York. She's still with us. Susan, thank you very much for staying on. What more do we know about this case?
Yeah, this is something that this new District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who is a Democrat, really wanted to get on against Donald Trump, the Trump company. Really, on the one hand, you know, there isn't any kind of law, rule, or regulation on what happens, how consequential this is really, this kind of verdict. There isn't going to be some kind of dissolution for the Trump brand or the Trump company. And what this means for the Trump business, if anything. A guilty verdict perhaps might affect how this the Trump brand, the Trump company does business, how it gets financing, how it might sign contracts, and then we go back to see really the maximum penalty it faces is only $1.62 million. In the grand scheme of things, that is not an amount of money that is really tangible for a big company like Trump. And then Donald Trump himself is not being prosecuted either. So while this is very noteworthy because it's part of a pattern and it's related to Donald Trump, but this particular case itself is yet to be seen, to what extent it'll really not only affect the Trump company, but also Donald Trump himself.
Our correspondent from New York, Susan Teherani, thank you very much for talking to us today. We'll have to leave it there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.